I find it very weird that you're getting the guests to introduce you to. I do like the anarchism that comes with.
Hey guys, welcome to the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast with your hosts, Jack, Vincent and Nick Crooks. Oh, and by the way, they're from the north. That's the reason they sound that way.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast. I am your guest host for this episode, Phil Stanley, and with me, unsurprisingly, are Mr. Jack Vincent and Mr. Nicholas Crooks.
Hey, this is just Jack with your interruption from the editor. Just to let you know that throughout this episode, Nick does have a really bad cough. I have tried to edit out most of it, but there are some bits where it becomes very apparent. He has followed the NHS guidelines and he's doing very well. As well, and a bit of an update is that in this podcast, there is a little bit of a cameo by Phil's cat Coco. Since the recording of podcast, Coco is no longer with us. So we would like to dedicate this episode to Coco as well. Enjoy!
So is this how you normally start every record? Cough with a coughing fit. Hey, you can't have a coughing fit these days. Can't have a coughing fit these days.
We allow them on here, don't you worry.
I had to go shopping yesterday with this cough.
Oh.
When I was on Twitter, one of the best jokes I ever saw. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work said out loud, but written down, it just said, "Pat Cash is sponsored by Asda."
Pat Cash is sponsored by Asda. Perfect.
I don't get it.
Because the Asda thing is, when you tapping your bum.
Oh, is that Asda? I thought that was Tesco.
No, Tesco's is Every Little Helps.
Oh, right, okay.
And Waitrose is Get Out, You Fucking Scum!
How are you today, Phil? Let's get the pleasantries out of the way. How are you?
I'm alright. Been outside to do a bit of studying. Got some coding done. That was difficult. I did not understand. I'd say I understood about 30% of what I was reading today. And I was reading for about...
Well, if it makes you feel any better that you only know about 30%, I'm a uni student and I only need 40% to pass, so I'm just trying to learn about 40% of what I need to know.
So as long as you know that extra 10%.
Yeah. I mean, also, me and Phil are doing two vastly different subjects.
Very different courses, yeah.
So just to give you a bit of an update of what I've been doing. So today I've dug out all my old Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And because I've also found out the kind of, like, some of them are worth like a couple of quid. So I'm like, could earn some bit of money here. I'm trying to sort through them as we were talking, because I was sort of them beforehand. And they are fucking filthy. Just putting that out there.
What, the cards are?
What, as in like sexual filthy or dirty? As in...
Oh no, as in like my hands are black.
The Ann Summers Yu-Gi-Oh card collection.
Yeah, I was expecting like a Pikachu with a fucking brassiere and stiletto or something.
Well, because we were bored and we're in quarantine and Callum wasn't working today, we thought we'd have a game of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and one of the cards is very voluptuous. And I was like, that's a bit inappropriate for a kid's game.
Yeah, but it's the route into sexuality through stuff like that, isn't it? All of a sudden, like, it's when, I remember stuff as kids and be like, like, the thing with me was, like, when I was really young, everyone was like, Jet from Gladiators, she's well fit. Like, we didn't know what attraction was at the age of 5. Christ's sake, but there was something that everyone was just like, yeah, oh yeah, I fucking fancy her, except in sort of high-pitched Geordie accent. Oh yeah, look at her, mate. She's fucking lush like...
Phil, where are you?
Oh, sorry, I was just having a piss.
Oh my god, keep fighting.
I was doing it as quietly as possible, so the laptop is out of that room.
Oh my god. This is what we're starting with.
This is what we're starting with, yeah. Right, so Nick's coughing, I'm peeing. What are you going to be doing, Jack? Are you going to be expelling your bowels later for everyone to hear?
No! I'd rather not be doing any of that sort of stuff when I'm supposed to be entertaining people.
I'm dosing myself up. Like, really. Doing a President Snow. Injecting myself with it. And then
is that President Snow from Hunger Games?
Yeah.
That is not a reference that I was expecting to come from you.
Why?
I'm glad you explained that, because I did not know what he was talking about.
He's got white hair, if that helps him mean.
President Snow sounds like a slang word for doing coke.
It doesn't help him, I don't think. President Snow also sounds like if Jon Snow got like a promotion in Game of Thrones.
What, like if they skipped 1,000 years?
Oh, for a minute, I thought you meant the newsreader. You've been promoted from newsreader to president.
Oh wait, I meant Game of Thrones, Jon Snow.
Yeah. Oh no, no. I know who. I mean, I know who Jon Snow is out of context of Channel 4,
Ah, good.
but I've never seen Game of Thrones and don't plan on watching it.
Where can you get your acceptable dose of incest?
Looking out of his window.
Well, someone did mention to me, they were like, "Oh, it's just got like loads of nudity and stuff like that." I was like, if I really want to watch that, I can just look at pornography.
Yeah, but the good storyline.
Yeah, but you'd have to search for soft porn, though, Phil. And everyone needs a daily dose of soft porn.
Some of the storylines in porn are amazing.
Are you actually trying to use a line of the you watch porn for the storylines? Because that's bullshit.
Well, no, actually, I wasn't going to bring this up, but now we've sort of gone on to this topic of conversation. I have actually started reading the comments on the porn videos. Are you ready for some of these? I've been taking this very seriously and have
Go on then.
my own folder on my phone of comments.
Oh, what the fuck?
Right, we're like 7 episodes in or something.
Yeah, and we've now got to the porn.
Yeah, this is what happens when I accidentally get invited onto the show.
I'd like to point out that you didn't get invited. You literally won a competition.
I'm a competition winner, aren't I?
Basically, you are the Make-A-Wish Foundation kid.
The sad thing is a little bit of backstory for all you lovely listeners of this podcast is I do have a chronic disease, so that isn't that far removed.
I'm going to have to edit out where I burst into laughter at that point because that makes
No, because it's very true to character review.
Well, no, because Phil is the only one that needs to know that that it's a joke. And seeing as how he does know that, fuck everyone else.
Everyone else can go, just accept that I'm a horrible person.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Go on then, some of your comments then, Phil.
Right. So there was this one particular video where the girl was making some very interesting noises of gratification, shall we say? And to give you an idea of what she sounded like, these are 3 of the best comments that I found. This is from James 1998-69. See what he did there at the end.
Classic name.
Did not know there were TIE fighters in this porno. Now I want to watch Star Wars. This is from Namagin3. I cannot flap to this. I start laughing every time she moans. All I can think about is Formula 1 cars zooming past me.
What the fuck does she sound like? What does this woman sound like? Have you ever seen a film called Porky's?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I have. Oh, right. I'll come on to about Porky's later.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the best comment that I found on this video.
Go for it.
When you're fucking your stepsister and she starts singing Jewish hymns.
What?
What?
That is a disturbingly funny comment.
I don't know if I understand it. It's bizarre.
Well, I'm guessing, like, I'm not gonna do the woman's voice, but I'm guessing it's quite like a high pitched sort of like. I'm not gonna do it.
That's probably for the best.
I imagine it's from my recollection. It was kind of like yodeling.
Think about Gladys knocking out a decent song on Songs of Praise.
I'm fairly intuition on my Songs of Praise knowledge.
I think that's the first time songs of praise and pornography have ever been so closely linked.
I don't think they have. I can imagine that coming up quite often, worryingly.
Yeah.
I can imagine that being like a weird fetish of some people's.
What songs of praise?
Well, I meant just religion, but
oh right, there's a proper dirty sect who just like watching Aled Jones walk around the English countryside and then cuts to a choir.
Yeah,
and then that really does it for them.
Well, and then there's like 10 old ladies getting absolutely battered by one massively hung bloke.
Massively hung.
Do you want to hear any more comments?
All right, well, you don't have to go through them all.
I've got a folder full.
Oh yeah, I've got quite a lot. Yeah, I think everyone can sympathise with this comment. You ever jack off and you're like, yeah, this is hot, then you finish, so you're like, what the fuck is this sin?
What? I don't. Okay.
That's like watching a porn, getting to the end of your your session and then going, why the hell did I watch that?
Yeah.
I feel dirty.
Yeah. Oh, I'm an awful person.
Yeah.
What is this? I can't believe I got turned on.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch Songs of Praise to cleanse me of the sin. This is this was from the Ray J Kim Kardashian one, and it just says, "Real shitty camera work, Ray."
Oh, God.
I can't remember which this one was from. It just made me laugh. That kitchen layout is very inefficient.
That's the best one. That is the best one. If you're going to have a tagline for your porno, that's what it needs to be.
I don't think you can get any better than that. So I think you leave it at that and let them want him more.
Do you want me to start?
With all due respect, Phil, I don't think I really wanted you to start, but it happened.
Well,
It happened. It definitely happened.
I mean, I actually can't remember how we got onto it, but it was a little gem.
It was a little gem. I will say that. It was very good. Well done, Phil. Well done for your contribution.
thank you.
I mean, when you edited this, Jack, if you just put where Phil works just before all the porno,
Yeah.
So, Phil, give us an example of a Karen moment that you've experienced.
Now this is a male Karen story I've got.
My story is about a male Karen, but go on.
Or do you want to tell yours?
No, I don't know why I interrupted. I just wanted to show that you're not the only one who talks about male Karens. But go on.
So it was when I used to work at View Cinemas, which was the best job I ever had by far and away, because you could turn up as hungover as you liked, and nobody really cared. You turned up. So I was ushering, and there was some bloke who'd been in to go and watch a film, and his wife was in another one. And he was like, "Oh, my film's finished. I'm just going to go in and watch the one that she's in." And I had a look, and I was like, "There's a good hour and a half of her film left. I'm sorry, mate. I can't really let you do that, because you've only paid for one film and you've seen two. That's not very fair on other people who are watching that film who've only paid for that one." And he was like, "Yeah, but my wife's in there. I'm not, you've seen me come out." And I was like, "Yeah, but that's not really how it works. So I'm really sorry. Can't let you back in." And he started to get a bit up in my face. And in the end, I just went, "Look, I'm only doing my job." And he turned around to me, and the words that he used were, "That's the excuse that they used during the Nuremberg trials." And I was like, this guy has just compared me to the Nazis, and all I'm doing is not letting him watch another film. And I was absolutely...
Wait, question. There's a very important... What were the two films in question?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
God. I think the film that his wife was in was Mamma Mia or something like that. I have no idea what he was going to see.
Right, first of all, who wants to go in midway through?
It's not like the first ever showing of Citizen Kane or something like that. It was
no. Let's just take a moment. Let's just take a freaking moment here. We were talking about the films in question and if it was worth this argument to happen. And your example of the film that would have made this worthwhile was Citizen Kane.
All right, Cinderella 3.
No, that was a bag of shite as well. Plus, Cinderella 3 did not go to cinemas. Who wants to watch Citizen Kane?
I mean, to be honest, I've never seen it. It's supposedly the best film of all time.
Who voted?
Yeah, but have they seen Avengers Endgame?
It's on those, when you end up reading wanky lists of, this is the best thing of this subject.
That's exactly what they are, Phil. Wanky lists.
They are. One of the best films of all time, Avengers Endgame. Boom.
Oh, yeah, I saw that for the first time. What was it? Was it last week when I messaged you? And it was like, you did not prepare me for just how emotional that film was going to be.
See, I will be honest, the big thing that everyone gets emotional about at the end, I'm not going to mention it because it is a big part, even though, how have you not seen it yet anyway?
Fuck it, spoilers, Iron Man dies, alright? Fucking hell. If you have not seen it by now, get a fucking life. It's on Disney Plus, for fuck's sake.
I knew that was the ending, and I still was not prepared.
Nah, see, that wasn't even that emotional for me. The emotion for me was still at the end, or halfway through actually, because it's a 3-hour film. Well, no, near the end, but it's a 3-hour film. It's the last hour. It's literally that film with all the portals, and they all turn up, and it's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, I got emotional when Tony Stark went to go back and see his dad, and when Thor saw his mum.
Yeah, I can kind of see the emotion, but I wasn't too bad. Yeah, I want that emotion, but yeah, that is a dick move to do. What happened then? What happened in the end? Not in Avengers Endgame. We're quite aware of that. I meant with the guy at the cinema.
Oh, right. I was like, I I'm just going to go and get a manager, because he was starting to get really upset and quite aggressive. And it wasn't, and so a manager came down and dealt with him. And I was only like 20, 21. And there was a guy who was basically accusing me of using the defences that Germans used in World War II so we could go and see a fucking free film.
And not just any film.
Which, by the way, may or may not have been
Mamma
Mamma
Mia.
Mia.
It may or may not have been Mamma Mia.
But what I want to know, what type of psycho goes and watches a film halfway through?
Yeah, that bit as well. The only film that I've ever seen, I've gone to the cinema halfway through and watched, was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And the only reason why was because we got the times wrong and we turned up an hour late and we were like, well, we already paid for it, might as well go in now.
I was going to say, so that's all right though, because you already had the tickets, didn't you?
Yeah, so we bought the tickets and then we were like, because it was one of these things like when I was younger that we were like, oh, we'll just buy tickets, and then the cinema had like an arcade in it, so we got the tickets and then we just went and chilled and went to like arcade, and then we turned up at like 5 o'clock when the film started at 4. So we only missed like half an hour because obviously
trailers
and stuff. I mean, I was pretty good that I missed the trailers because trailers are my life, but
I'm fine. I mean, I'm like coughing into a towel here.
I'm really concerned that this podcast is going to kill Nick.
I'm going to chuck it on someone next time we go to the supermarket. That's a joke. That's a joke.
He's got Nick managed to get chemical warfare involved.
Imagine that if I sold this to the Chinese and that cut up into little like towel bombs.
I don't know if you're coughing into a towel for your own family's benefit or for the fact of my editing. Either way, I'm very thankful. So what actually happened then with the manager? What was the resolution?
I think he just got asked. Well, he didn't go and see the film in the end because I had all the power.
I just love how he made like a Nazi reference.
Yeah.
Basically, what I said went.
What I like is Phil made the guy said to Phil that it was pretty much like a Nazi, and then Phil's like, "Well, he didn't see the film. I had all the power."
Phil is the Nazi of the View cinemas.
Yeah.
So my male Karen. So as we detailed in the previous episode, which I don't know if this has gone out yet, because if people are not aware, we don't record each individual episode. So I used to work at River Island, as we may or may not be aware. And I remember once someone came in, and it was during sale time, because I remember it being very, very busy. And it was a young guy, and he was in his 20s, and he wanted to return some chinos, some blue chinos. I remember it distinctively. And the reason being was that there was a rip in the crotch. But the product that he bought in was River Island, it wasn't anything like that, but was covered in alcohol stains, it was cigarette burn, it was destroyed all around.
So he'd not wore it at all. No.
So he'd not worn this at all.
Yeah.
And because it was a faulty return, I wasn't a manager, so I was like, straight away, I can't deal with this. But I am a stickler for loving a bit of gossip. So I made sure the manager dealt with it directly next to me because, nosy. And when he was going through it, he was saying, well, no, it's obviously faulty. And she was like, yeah, but it's obviously been worn. Also, this stock is from a year ago, so I can't actually see when this was bought. This could have been bought a year ago, which means it's going to be faulty. And it was back and forth, and he was literally just screaming at her, saying, you need to take it back because it's faulty. You need to take it back, it's because it's faulty. And in the end, she at this point, it was just getting to a point where it was like, I'll just give him what it's worth now, which, by the way, it was £7 because it'd gone down in sale.
Christ.
Yeah.
But when she offered the £7, his excuse to why he wasn't going to take it, and it was an insult, was that she needed to reimburse him because the rip in the crotch had cost him a girl last night.
Surely that should help.
Oh, you are fucking kidding me.
He was like, I was chatting this girl up, and as soon as she saw the rip in my crotch, she didn't want anything to do with me. So you need to reimburse me the drinks that I spent on her.
So not only is this person a sack of shit for bringing something in that has clearly been used and is just worn down over time, he's then putting monetary value onto a woman.
Okay, 2 points. I like how you're trying to take this standpoint against putting monetary value on a woman after speaking so long about porn.
They get paid handsomely.
I just like how you've had that standpoint. Like I'm a feminist here. I know what I'm talking about. But in actual fact, you was saying some quite sexist things earlier. But we'll allow.
No, I watched a Channel 4 programme on it.
Are you making out that you're an expert on porn stars here because of a Channel 5 documentary, Phil? Nick?
Not just one, a series.
Oh. Sorry, I stand corrected. Just stop me at all, guys, because I can't. I'm obviously speaking out my arse here. What am I even talking about?
I mean, you've never seen Porky's, so I don't really think your opinion is valid on any of this.
Oh my god, you've broken him again.
He's got a point, Jack. Surely the rip in his groin area should be an advantage when the lass sees it, because you'd be thinking he must have a massive dick if it's made that rip.
I mean, I had to leave when he brought that one out because I'd started laughing because I was like, plus the manager in question was she was a fucking badass manager, so in the end I knew she wasn't going to give him a piece of her mind. Safe to say, at the end of it all, he left with a £7 credit note.
For all that.
Hey, this is just Jack with another interruption from the editor. I'm treating you got 2 in 1 episode. Just to let you know that I'm very aware that Coco didn't actually appear in this episode. It's one big recording, so we're going to dedicate all the episodes that we've done with Phil to Coco, because we really are nice guys. Cheers, guys.
That was the Nice Guys of Comedy podcast with Jack, Vincent and Nick Crooks, recording from their own home and heavily fucking edited. Follow them at I am Jack the and at Nick Crooks Comedy. Why don't you? #NiceGuys.